Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then the walrus says, but I don't even own a refrigerator. Oh, we're live. Oh, hey, house kids, this just in. Today's Saturday, January 23rd. Eric here. We have been going over the book of Samuel, if you remember, from last week. And this week's lesson is called The Ark of the Covenant is Captured. Oh, no. Well, before we get into the Ark of the Covenant being captured, let's go back a little bit, rewind, and explain some things so that we fully understand what's going on. So last week, we entered into the book of Samuel. Samuel 1, remember it's split into two different books, and we went over the very first three chapters, 1, 2, and 3. And it explained where Samuel came from. And it also explained that Samuel is going to be used by God as a messenger. So when God wanted to tell people something, he would speak through Samuel, and Samuel would give that message to God's people. And we ended the lesson in chapter 3 with the first time that God speaks to Samuel. He tells Samuel that God is going to judge the Israelites because Eli's sons were evil and they sinned, right? That's where we left off. Now we also need to go into the Ark of the Covenant and what that is. If we go all the way back to the book of Exodus, if you remember, God informed and instructed Moses on how to build the tabernacle and all the little items, the special items that were inside the tabernacle. And again, the tabernacle was like a huge tent that they could set up and break it down and carry it to their next location and reset it back up. And it was like a portable temple that they used. And inside was specific items, and they all had different meanings and uses. And one of those items was the Ark of the Covenant. I brought a little picture here so you could see. All right, this is the Ark of the Covenant, and it essentially is like a big, elaborate box. And within this box, it held the holiest of items, like scriptures and things like that. But this item, this Ark of the Covenant, was supposed to be so holy that God said he didn't want anyone touching it, right? And that's why you could see they crafted these little circle areas where they could put the wooden big sticks through, so when they carried it, they didn't have to touch it. They could carry it by holding those sticks, and that's how they transported it around. So that's the Ark of the Covenant. It was the most holy of all the items that was in the tabernacle, and it also represented God's presence being with the Israelites. So the Israelites, they almost, they imagined this represented God's presence with them. So this is a very holy and sacred item. So here we are in 1 Samuel chapter 4, all right? And during this time of the judges, the Israelites were in battle often, and they would fight other inhabitants of the land of Canaan, and those inhabitants they didn't follow God, and they were evil, most of them. And one of these inhabitants, these groups of people, were called the Philistines. And the Israelites and the Philistines fought for a very long time, but every time they fought, the Israelites won. And they won because God was with them. God was with them, and he said, go and fight these evil Philistines, and I will be with you to help you succeed. And they won every time. They just beat the Philistines all the time until now. And remember, where we left off, God said to Samuel, he told Samuel that he was going to punish and judge the Israelites because of their sin. But now I want to just say something. When he says that, it's not God punishing them. It's not God causing harm to them. It's God stepping back and saying, I'm not going to be with you. I'm not going to cover you and protect you. You're on your own. If you're not going to follow me, that's fine. You're on your own. And so the Israelites went to battle the Philistines, and they lost. They lost. And the Israelites were like, what? Why was God not with us? And why did we lose? They were not used to losing, right? And so they came up with a very, very dumb idea. They're like, I know. We need to make sure God is with us. So let's go and get the Ark of the Covenant, the most holy of items that represents God's presence with them, and we'll bring that to battle with us, and then we'll win. Not a very good idea. And of course, it was Eli's sons that went and got the Ark of the Covenant. And when they brought it out to the battlefield, the Israelites saw the Ark of the Covenant, and they were like, yeah, God's presence is with us. We're going to win. And they were pumped, ready to fight. Let's go. Well, they lost again. Not only did they lose again to the Philistines killed thousands of Israelites, including Eli's sons, and they stole the Ark of the Covenant. The Philistines now have it. This is like the worst game of capture the flag ever, right? And so when someone finally ran back and told Eli the priest what had happened, he said, the Philistines, they killed thousands of our men, including your sons, and they took the Ark of the Covenant. Eli fell over and died. That's the end of Eli. So the Philistines, take off with the Ark of the Covenant. And the whole time they're thinking, our God is way bigger than the Israelites' God. You see, they worshipped a false god. They worshipped a god. And they took the statue of this god, which was called Dagon, right? And they put the Ark of the Covenant at the feet of the statue of Dagon. And they said, our God's bigger than their God. And they went to bed and they woke up in the morning and the statue of the false god Dagon had fallen over. And they were like, I don't know what happened here. Let's get our God statue back up. And they put it back up. And it fell over again. And this time it broke. Their statue of their fake God broke. Not only that, people in their city everywhere were getting sick. Everyone was getting sick. And they started going, oh, we should move this Ark of this Covenant thing of the Israelites over to the next city. And so they'd move it to the next city. Well, the next city started getting sick. And then they took it and they're like, let's move it over to this city. And they moved it to a third city and they started getting sick. It was like a big game of hot potato. Until eventually they realized, we can't keep this here. We've done a bad thing. This God is a one true God, the God of the Israelites. And so they took the Ark of the Covenant, put it on a big cart with wheels, and put a bunch of gold on there to say, we're sorry, we didn't mean to do this. Attached a couple cows and sent the Ark of the Covenant back to the Israelites. So the Israelites got back the holy Ark of the Covenant, right? And in this lesson, the Israelites went to battle and lost because God was not with them, and they knew that. But their big mistake was that they didn't realize that God wasn't with them because of their sin. And so they thought, you know what? We're going to make God be with us. So they went and grabbed the Ark of the Covenant and treated it like it was a good luck charm, right? And we can't force God to do anything that God doesn't want to do. God does what he wants to do, and what he wants to do is always the right thing, right? We can't force him. And so the Israelites were in this place of, hey, we still want to sin, but we also want God's protection. But you can't have both, right? God will protect his people when they obey him and follow his commandments and worship the one true God, right? But in this situation, they didn't, right? And so in that, they found out the hard way that they can't force God to do what they want to do. And that's the story of the Ark of the Covenant and how it was captured by the Philistines. It's a good story. So if you want to read that in your Bibles, that is 1 Samuel chapters 4, 5, and 6. If you look in the description below on the video here, we have the printouts for you. Today we have two printouts. We have the coloring page. Let's see if I can get this. Here it is. And here is the Ark of the Covenant is being sent back. There's the cows, and there it is on the cart. And it says, God showed the Philistines that he is the one true God. So you can color that however you want to color it. Be creative. You can make the cows blue if you want. It doesn't matter. Do whatever you want. We have an activity sheet for you. Ark word search. We got a word search. These are always fun. And so here's all the mixed up letters, and you need to find all of these words hidden in the Ark of the Covenant. You have all words like Eli, Ark, God, battle. There's lots of them. So that'll be fun for you. You can print that out as well. That's this week's lesson. I hope that you enjoyed this lesson. Next week, we are going to get into Israel's first king. So that'll be exciting. You guys take it easy and have a great week, and we'll get back to it next week. Take it easy.